It's called 2023 European Platform Trends Ready for the Challenge. It is a question that we're asking because the growing success of digital platforms brings to the surface another reality. While other global economies keep growing in terms of market value and general profit, Europe still stays behind North America and Asia. In order to help enlarging its fair share of the platform economy, Marina, Planas, and Peter Evans are going to give us 5 strategies to solve these challenges. Let me introduce you to Marina Planas from the network. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
And also Peter Evans, PhD from McFadyen Digital. He is in Denver now, so good morning, Mr. Evans.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'll let you introduce yourselves, and you can start.
Thank you very much. Hi, Peter. OK, so we're not going to introduce ourselves like Marina Planas, blah, 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 and Peter Evans, blah, 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 because you can just search in LinkedIn, both of us, Marina Planas, Peter C. Evans, and you will see our track record. We want to talk what we do and also how we can help Europe, right? So what we do at the network. The network, we help professionals to ideate, launch business platforms. What is a business platform? It's a platform-based model, business model, that basically, I think Peter is going to explain a bit deeper, right? We want to increase the role of Europe in that sense. When I'm talking with platforms, we are talking about, you know who has the largest hotel in the world? Who is? Airbnb, and doesn't own any room, right? So this is a platform-based business model that you have infrastructure and you just match both sides, right? So we want to talk about the European trends, right? Ready for the challenge. For that, and to just put in the situation, I would like that Peter help us on explaining how we arrived till today. Peter.
Sure. So the platform economy is constantly changing and evolving over 20 years now. So we started early on with companies like eBay and Booking.com. We call those matchmakers. And then we entered what they call the sharing economy with the rise of Uber and Airbnb. And then there was the gig economy, of course, with companies like Upwork and Fiverr that matched people with various kinds of jobs, and those become very large platforms now. And then, of course, we see the globalization of platforms. Platforms like Spotify and LinkedIn now have hundreds of millions of users, so they're very, very large platforms, and they are active in hundreds of countries around the world. And then there's been concern about the rising dominance of certain platforms, and in Europe, they're often called gatekeepers now. So those are the big platforms, typically out of the United States. Amazon and Facebook would be 2 examples, but of course Google, and we have a few others. Microsoft maybe even be included in that. So anyway, the platform economy has evolved quite dramatically and provides amazing services in a whole host of ways. It's kind of hard to live your life nowadays without interacting in some way with a platform.
So, who from here are using these apps every day? Airbnb, Amazon, you know? So they are the largest, and they have disrupted each sector, right? Without no assets at all. But were they born? Where they built this kind of business model? Guess where? The States, right? So if we see the top 100 platforms in the world by market capitalization, 78% are in the States, 18% in Asia, and in Europe, guys, we only have 3%. Do you think we have to do something? Yes or not? I guess yes, right? So, and also, they grow exponentially. So, why they are growing so exponentially and why they are so valuable, right? Because they are efficient, they are flexibility, they have a scalability because they don't have assets, right? So imagine, compare Airbnb with Marriott, that they will have to go in a country and settle there. Airbnb will take days, weeks, maybe. Marriott, they have to build the hotel. So they are going to be faster and more efficient, right? And the benefits of this kind of business model, and the gold one, is the network effects. What are network effects? Is that because you use one platform, this platform has more value for all the users. Let me put an example. Waze. Who's using Waze here? If you use Waze, then you get benefit because we are not in a traffic jam, maybe, right? So as a users, we have more value, and also the platform itself has building some defensibility, so barriers of entry. Why doesn't exist any LinkedIn, another LinkedIn here? Because you have all your network that you have to bring to another place, right? So we would like to introduce you, and here is Peter from the States, trying to make us, shake us a bit and say, hey, you have a challenge. And he called the 16th time challenge that we have Europe. And what we want to do today, in 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes, he gives these 5 strategies, right? So first one is that we have to grow in terms of platform startups. And gathering some data for this presentation from Deal Room, we just look and say, OK, let's compare the States with Europe. First thing is, how many universities will we have? How many accelerators do we have? Look this graph here. We have more than the States. Then the outcome. How much do we have startups? And unicorns, you see the numbers, right? 70% less than the US. Which is the difference that I cannot write here, This bar is taken till the C, Because it's 1 trillion comparing with 400. So it means that, in average, in Europe, one startup have almost 300,000 euros. Average, okay? You know that someone less and someone else. And in the States, guess what? 8 million. So, which is the clue? We need money. And I think in this panel yesterday, a panel will say, guys, we need money. So, we need to accelerate Europe in the startup scene, but also investing. And also, one thing is important, now in the crisis that we have, is that one sentence that we hear very rapidly is, fake it until you make it? No, it's over. Now you have to solve a real problem. And you don't have to go with just a PowerPoint, right? Or a Canva, I will say now in these times, right? So, second strategy. OK, we tackle the startup scene. Let's go to tackle the incumbents, the corporate scene. What they should do? Hey, guys, there is a lot of corporates here. Can you raise your hands here? OK, do you have a strategy in platforms? What we say is that you have to think in 3 strategies. It's like you can build one. So you can use your customers, you can use your assets, right? And use your assets. You can buy one. You can buy a startup, so you are going to be more flexible. It's going to be very quick, and the cultural mindset is going to be faster, right? Or you have to become part of one. So maybe you can sell on Amazon, but just pay attention. Which are the data, which are the things that you are going to share with that platform. So pay attention, corporates. You see this big fish, big boat here? Are the big techs. They want to fish, and they want to buy corporations and market from that corporations, right? So, Peter, tell us examples that big corporations can do here in Europe.
Well, obviously, it's good to tap into your competitive advantages. And one area, obviously, where Europe excels is in thinking about sustainability. So there are I think a lot of opportunities now emerging where platform strategies can be leveraged by incumbents. There are quite a number of incumbents in Europe that have strong background in sustainability. And so kind of one idea that could be very attractive is to think about maybe creating a hub or a green, what they call super apps, that would benefit consumers, but also be a way to organize around a very important mission, which is how do we reduce carbon and create a more sustainable infrastructure. So there's some interesting ideas about, for example, using ideas of the circular economy, but not just as a single brand, but how do you create a whole marketplace where you match people who will use reused clothing or equipment, electronics. There's all sorts of ways to create a more sustainable and circular economy. So that's one area that we think is promising for Europe to catch up and become a leader in the global platform economy.
Thank you, Peter. And also, I think the B2B, guys, Germany, Europe, we have industry. So in the B2B scene, I think it's an important point. So third strategy, Web3 metaverse opportunities. Come on, Peter, can you explain us a bit what is Web3 very fast and which are the opportunities that we have in Europe?
Sure. So Web3 is this collection of thinking about leveraging blockchain technology with non-fungible tokens, or what they call NFTs. Obviously, there's DeFi, which is, again, using tokens for transactions and financial kinds of interactions. And then finally, metaverse types of investments. So Web3 refers to that collection. And when you look at the Web3 space, we find that platforms and platform business models are very prevalent. So there's lots of opportunities. And the question is how can Europe maybe leapfrog in this area and leverage Web3 technologies to grow and scale interesting platform opportunities. So here's a few examples of companies in Europe that are launching NFT projects. Lamborghini did a pretty cool picture here that they auctioned off as an NFT. Mercedes-Benz has also done sales promotions using NFTs and engaging artists and building a community. And Volkswagen has as well. So there's some really good examples of European companies taking the lead in this space. And one area that could be very big and exciting is actually thinking about the automotive industry. We often think of Web3 in terms of fashion and retail and things like that, but even the automotive industry is beginning to get into this space. There are more than 30 projects that you can see around the world, and they range the full life cycle of a vehicle from the design. There are a number of projects that have issued NFTs around the sketches that go into just the concepts of a vehicle. And there's also been NFTs issued around securing production slots so that you use the NFT to guarantee your vehicle in the factory. There's also been NFTs around sales promotions, maintenance. Alfa Romero has an interesting project around NFTs to maintain your vehicle. There's also been some interesting experiences like visiting factories or getting a kind of certificate if you go to a racetrack and go through a program to test the vehicle and learn how to drive at high speeds, and that can be minted as an NFT. So there's lots of ways that the automobile industry can leverage this, and already doing it. And Europe is strong in the automotive industry, so this looks like a very promising space where we could see more Web3 platforms emerge.
Yes, it's not a casualty, right? That I've been 17 years in the automotive industry, and with Peter will say which examples we should give. Let's go to the industry, no? It's not art, as he was saying. Okay, let's go for the fourth strategy. European super apps. Do you know what is a super app? Yes? No? Peter, explain us, what is a super app?
So super apps are really interesting. They combine lots of features into a single app. So you don't have to leave to go to some other application. They all come together. And Asia has been in the forefront of building companies around these kind of super apps. So there's a company in Southeast Asia called Grab. It started as a rideshare company similar to Uber or Lyft or BlaBlaCar. And it has grown substantially in the last number of years, and they've added all sorts of other features within one app. So they now do mobility, of course, but also delivery. They do financial services. You can book your holidays. There's a whole host of things that can be accessed in the day in the life of a typical consumer through one application. So these super apps have gotten a lot of attention. And what's interesting is in Europe, you often hear the complaint or criticism that it's very difficult to scale because of the fragmented nature of Europe with different languages and different countries. But Grab has shown that they've been quite successful in an even more fragmented region, which is Southeast Asia, which not only has different countries and different languages, but different currencies. But even so, they've managed to put together a very successful super app strategy, and it's become a multi-billion-dollar company as a result. So I think this shows that it is possible to overcome some of these cultural or financial barriers and bring together a product, a super app that serves many, in this case, millions of customers use the Grab super app these days in Southeast Asia. So I think Europe could also potentially take advantage of this strategy and build all, European unique super apps.
Because guys, what do you prefer to have in your smartphone? 10 apps that you have to log in, or just one app and then you just click with one click, right? So entrepreneurs that you are here, companies that you're here, let's think and build together with an ecosystem a super app, the first super app in Europe, right? Okay, fifth one, it can be talent, people. We have universities, we have accelerators, but what do we need, Peter?
So obviously, running a platform takes specialized skill, right? You need to understand the underlying economics, the business case, the business model, but it also requires the ability to bring parties together, right? It's not just managing within the firm, it's also encouraging and incentivizing third parties to contribute to the platform. So there's a lot of unique capabilities that are necessary to actually manage and run. And this is becoming actually quite an exciting career opportunity because platforms have emerged as a very successful business model, and many companies now have strategic initiatives to drive and become or adopt platform strategies, and this is true in Europe as well. But we need people who have this background and experience, and so another strategy that Europe really should focus on is how to build that training capability. There's actually very few universities in Europe that actually teach platform strategy and platform economics. So there's a few courses scattered around, but there could be a more concentrated effort to actually create, for example, majors in this area, which would be exciting. So, I think this is an important area for Europe to focus on, is to build the next generation of platform professionals to serve the opportunities. And so when you look worldwide now, there are probably about 40,000 jobs opening, and this is worldwide. So many of these are in the United States and in Asia, but we also see some really interesting job openings in Europe as well to lead these. And that can be in traditional kind of Web 2 spaces, but we're also seeing this emerge in the Web 3 space, people who understand how platforms work so that they can lead these initiatives in companies, both small, startups, but also incumbent companies that are seeking to grow their platform strategy. So this is an important area to focus on, and lots of interesting and exciting opportunities here.
Wonderful. So as a summary, right, what we should do? Help with money, right, to build startups with this business model, strengthen incumbents, corporations, change your mindset, change invert the firm that we say, right, and try to see how you can build this kind and do the open innovation and others can build on top of you, right? Like Apple. Apple is doing. Do you know Uber was designed Apple, but your phone has more value because Uber is here, right? So this is the mindset that we have to have. And then Web3. We have a great opportunities to lead in terms of the Web3 and in the industry, not only in art, in fashion, so industry. There are a lot of utilities that NFTs can have, like dynamic NFTs, and also Peter is leading, so my learning NFTs, for example, that is like, it's going to be like our CV, imagine, that is going to be dynamic. It depends of what you study, what you read, what you do, like on social media, and so on. And it's with Freebirds that we have a partner, so that he's going to talk, Tony. Don't miss that talk, because it's very, very good. And then let's build the first super app in Europe. Let's build this, put together, solve one problem, and let's build this ecosystem. And of course, we have to ensure that our people will have the skills and the talent of this kind of business models. So the change is imminent. So what you are going to do, which is the role that you want to do here, right? So thank you very much. Here is a QR code, because we are finalizing a study that is the 2023 European Business Unit Trend Report. So we are going to give tips to what to watch next year, right? Not long term. Of course, long term we will have it, but we want to give some tips. And it's done through people from the community, from the network, and also from outside. So, Peter, do you remember when we take this picture?
Yeah, it was in Boston.
Yeah, because Peter, it was the co-chair of the MIT Platform Strategy Summit, right? Also, Peter has been here because we have done the Network Summit. And just follow us, and if you want to deep a bit more, it's a pleasure. So we have time for, yes, good, wonderful. We have 5 minutes for questions. So please, let's do it. Yeah, a micro, please, or I go down.
Peter, thank you for, Marina, thank you for the presentation. My name is Adriana. My question sometimes is like, we do understand that Europe needs the platforms, but when you see most of those platforms, they end up raising so much money from the US or from China that they are not more Europe. Like even the one you mentioned, for example, came from a SPAC that raised like 4.5 billion. So the money, I know you guys mentioned, but like the local money, we're still having problems on maintaining the companies European per se, no? I don't know if you have a solution for that.
I will go, if you want. I think that maybe you have seen the Endeavor and the Google startup study that they have done. I like the links that as much as unicorns, as much as people that we have with funds, they will reinvest also here. So this is one fact, right? So because all the guys of Silicon Valley, what they do is just all together, no? Y Combinator, you know, everybody is just reinforcing this community, right? Yes.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Amazing presentation, loved it. One of the questions would be, like, you've talked about super apps in Europe and the difference between Europe and Asia. And I would guess that the super apps in Asia are because there isn't like one company that has monopolized like one industry. And in Europe, that would be like the case. So like the CRMs, there's like a few companies that are the big ones. And how could we build like a super app in that case?
Peter, you want to go?
Well, I think, the idea is where are there new spaces that you could move into to create value through a integrated app. And I think, one area that we've been exploring is the idea of a green super app. So how would we combine various companies that offer services? They could be financial, could be transportation, could be even entertainment. So there's a whole host of ways that you could then create this, especially as we convert to more electric vehicles and that energy transition. So there's new networks that are emerging. So I think the idea is to look to new spaces where we're seeing a transition, and there could be an opportunity to build a suite of capabilities that benefit consumers and create opportunities for building a European-based platform.
Wonderful. We have time for last question. Yes? Another one. Don't be shy. We want interactions. No? Okay. So we are just in time then. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, bye, bye.